Hello everybody, welcome back to How to Build a B-1 Bomber. Been pretty busy the past couple of days, but dang weather turned off cold and my resin didn't set up as quick as I like on them other deals over there, but I'll show you that in a minute. But what I got going here, so I made this tube yesterday, and that's for my elevator. That's the flange. That's going to actuate my elevons. And yeah, I'm going to put a ball link on there probably, but it's going to be a steel one. It won't be one of them cheap plastic ones. Someone was asking me about that. But I'm going to show you how I made this. I just took, for the flange part, probably about 8 layers of carbon. And some of them I just cut kind of crisscross where it would leave the hair sticking up like that. And some of them I cut just round. And I just soaked it with resin. See, I wanted some of them fibers sticking up to get a really good bond on that flange. And that's why I crisscrossed some of them. Then I wrapped it with carbon and soaked it with resin. And yeah, I use the same resin on this carbon as I do with fiberglass. It's all like that, all that stuff I get from Associated Industries. If you go back a few movies, you'll see it in the upper right-hand corner. But that's their clear resin they'll use for carbon, fiberglass, making my molds, making my fuselages. I use it on everything. And then the white stuff I use as a surface coat. It's more like a tooling resin. But that's what I did, and I let that set up. And, you know, I trimmed it when it got a little rubbery around that edge. And I just let it set up overnight. And this morning, I chucked that whole piece in my freezer this morning. See, and I cut it a little short. And I let it sit in that freezer for about an hour. Then I came out here to my bench, and I just hit it as hard as I could. Boom, and almost came shooting out. Came shooting out about 4 inches. Then I just took this piece of steel and kind of put it on the bench and had to tap it out. The last little inch or two was the worst. I think it's because I had some more resin up there. Should have cleaned that off a little better, but that's the piece I got. Now, this bearing, it is just a frog hair bigger than this tube, but we knew that, and that's the way we wanted it. But it's just a frog hair smaller than that, so it won't fit in the holes. But that's the way we wanted it. And then I just took my Dremel and just kind of lightly put that in there so that bearing just flops right in there. And then I'll just tap it in the last little bit. And then we'll do that to the other side. And then this piece I will glue in my elevator, in the stab on each side. And then go over here to the frying pan. Someone called that. Doesn't look like, just look like a frying pan. But then it'll slide on this shaft. Now this shaft right here, this is some heavy duty stuff. This is seamless chromoly tubing. It's got about I don't know, at least a 1/4 inch wall. Now that is some heavy duty stuff. Now, and that's what that's going to slip in, and see, then it slips. This side ain't so. In these holes right here, that slips inside there. And then when my steel sticks through there, that's what my rods will. That's what my rods will go down to the servos on. Now, onto this. Now we know we couldn't just drill a hole through that and put that shaft in there. That wouldn't be near good enough. So I had to make another tube. And what I did is I waxed this up right here. You know, that chromoly tubing? I waxed that up really good yesterday, and I wrapped some carbon around there and some of my resin. I made this tube. Now this is don't drop that thing. Excuse me while I pick that up. Okay. I made this carbon tube. That's a pretty good wall on that. That's got to be, it's over 1/8 inch. probably 3/16. And I wrapped some carbon around there and let that set up last night. And did the same thing with that this morning. I put it in the freezer and went wham and hit that dude on my bench as hard as I could. It didn't budge. I actually had to, I don't think that chrome moly shrinks like that aluminum, but I actually had to cut it. I just cut it and put it back on that pipe, fill that pipe with just 5-minute epoxy with my little cut there, and fix that. And then, remember when I said I was going to Harbor Freight yesterday? I'm going to show you what I bought. I got this one of them stepping bits. You know, that get a little bigger each time you go down. And I'll tell you what, that worked awesome, even on that carbon fiber. It really worked good. So then what I did is I put this on my drill press and drilled it out. I actually I drilled it out exactly the same size at first. And I put it all in there, put that shaft in there. It was a little crooked. So I wanted to really jig that up and get it straight anyway. So I just went ahead and drilled it out to the next size bigger and sanded it, that part real good. I put through there. I sanded it real good and then just wrapped another layer of carbon fiber around it. Soaked her up with resin real good and got it all the way through. Then I actually went through the hole about a 1/4 inch. Now and then that piece of resin I wrapped around there, man, it just really soaked up into that stuff and really give it a good glue joint. And then on the inside, what I did, I don't know how good you can see that. I'll hold the camera down there here in a second. But that was sticking through the center like that. And I took another strip of carbon fiber, you know, about like this. And then I pulled these edges down on both sides to get them hairs to where they'll stick up on the sides, you know. And I had that sanded real good. Take the camera down there. And then I wrapped that carbon fiber around this shaft on the inside, and I let them hairs get on the side. And then I came in here and jigged it all up. Got it all square with this and square with the front. And it's setting up now. It's still kind of wet. But man, I tell you what, this elevator's going to be bulletproof. This is one part of this airplane that will not fail. I think a guy can get on that shaft and jump on it. And it wouldn't budge. It wouldn't budge a bit, man. That's a 1/2 inch of carbon all in these sides, and that deal, all laminated crisscross like I did it. That is solid. Then this, see, I left that sticking out a 1/4 inch. The bearing will actually touch that. That'll hold that bearing in place, and man, it's going to work awesome. Awesome, awesome. And that's going to be my elevator mechanism. Now, I'm just going to let that set up probably the rest of the day. I can't touch that no more. And then what I'm going to do before I lay up these sides is I'm going to put that in place. I'm going to stick that shaft in there, and I'm going to purposely mark my mold. And then when my finished part's made, and that's glued on the inside, I'll know exactly where to cut my holes. You know, I drill my hole for the side, and then I'll actually have to make it, then I could stick, when they stick the shaft in there, you know, then stick this in there, into my fuselage, and then mark that around it with a pencil, and this will slip in there, but it's not fatter than my elevator. So that means I don't have to have no door or nothing. This will just slide right in there, and be awesome, and they'll move independently on bearings, and it's going to work good. Now, I figured out where I'm going to put all my doors. I got to have access to my servos. So this, I'm going to put a pretty good sized door in this, you know, to get to there, and I want to have that a molded recessed hatch. So I laid this piece of glass, and I used my white resin. I did the same thing. I waited till it was kind of gummy, then I put another coat on it. It's actually all dry. That's just the wax you're seeing on there. I'll clean that off with some soap and water. Then I'm just going to wet sand that down and get her nice and smooth. Then I could pop it off, trim it, and these panel lines, right where I want my hatch to be. Then I'll take some double-faced tape, tape it down, and put my glass and resin on top of it, and that will make my nice molded hatch. And so I can get to my servos. Now my radio, this is the one for the side of the fuselage, in the back. See, that door is going to go right there, where them panel lines are. And that's where I'm going to put my ECUs and my receiver. I'm going to get a lot in that hatch. I'll be able to reach back there. I'll be able to reach up there. That's going to be a good, nice sized door right there. That'll be nice. But my mold end's right there, which that ain't no problem at all, people. What I'm going to do is I took this mold off my plug a long time ago, right after I got done molding all this stuff, remember? So it's the full size. What I'll have to do is I'll put it over there where I want it. It'll fit right in that panel line because it came off my plug. It'll fit right in them squares. Then I'll mark it with my pencil and I'll cut it and I'll put half of it in that mold and half of it in the other mold. And they'll match up perfect. So my seam, when I glue these together, will actually run down the middle of that hatch. Kind of like my engine covers on my nacelle. I did the same thing on that one. And you won't even be able to know. And that's going to work out awesome. But I'm trucking along. This epoxy stuff didn't set up yesterday like I was hoping it would. And that had to set up all night. Now this is going to have to set up all night. But I'll get these other pieces ready. And tomorrow, bam, I'm going to lay these two pieces up first so I can get my elevator mechanism in there. And then I'll be able to, I can put these two together and I can still see up all in there. And before I actually tape it together and see what I need to do. I'm actually thinking about putting some kind of a track device right there instead of a rod. I don't know what yet, but that sure would be nice. It'll have to pivot because of the arc of this, because that's going to be round, remember, so it's going to have to pivot, and it sure would be cool if I can come up with something. If anyone ever out there's got an idea the next day or so, holler at me, especially today, after I get this movie loaded, the next 3 or 4 hours, and you got a good idea on that, so I won't have to have no rods dangling, and it might be easier. I'm still thinking on that, folks. But I want it all to be bulletproof, strong, tough, easy to work on, all the above. And I'll figure it out, you know. Just got to think about this stuff. Sit down, and my wife comes out here and sees me staring at some of these parts, and she thinks I'm crazy. I know she does. But I'm thinking, you know, I'll get something figured out. But, so, I'll make another movie tomorrow, people. So, and we'll get this fuselage laid up. I just wanted to show you what I did here and how I took care of my elevator mechanism. And let me know what y'all think. Anyone out there thinks that's going to fail? I'd sure like to hear why. But, till then, guys, we will see you in the shop. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.